Hey guys, it's Kaz here, and today I'm doing the book cover telephone tag challenge. Yes, that one. So I've seen this around a little bit. Most recently I saw Chelsea do it, and quite a while ago I saw Paige do it. Side note, both of their books, the ending books, were really pretty. So this is the book that Chelsea ended with, and this is the book that Paige ended with. But I decided to take my starting point from the original, which is Reading Riley. I'll leave all three of them videos down below. But basically, this is like the game telephone. And by that, I think they mean Chinese whispers. I don't know. You take a book cover and then you pick something out of it and you link it with another one, and then you keep doing that, and then there's like a link throughout. It can be the colour, the theme, the font, the typography type, all that jazz. And yeah, an extra part of this tag is that the person who tagged you use their last book as your starting point. I've not actually been tagged in this, but I wanted to do it anyway. So I'm taking Constance by Matthew Fitzsimmons as my starting point, because that was the book that Reading Riley ended on. And I'm just going to jump in. Also, side note, you can pick out the books beforehand, or you can do it just on the fly. I thought I was going to do it on the fly, but the amount of time it took me to find these books, I am glad that I did not do that, because it would have been a long ass video for me to edit. So yes, the books are there in a stack. I've already decided. Let's go. Starting point, Constance. There's not much on this cover. It's just white with a fingerprint on it. So I took the fingerprint element. And my first linked book is Good Girl Bad Blood by Holly Jackson. I have read this one. It's the second book in this series. As you can see, there's fingerprint, several fingerprints. It's also red, which is the colour of the fingerprint in the original book. So yes, that was my link. I've read this one. I did really enjoy it. I think I gave it a 4 or a 4.5. It is, like I said, the second in the series. The first book is A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. And basically it's about a character going around trying to figure out a murder and whether the person who everyone thinks did it actually did it. It's really good. This book's really good. The third book, I've got a rant on it about 15 minutes long on my channel somewhere, so yes. So, Good Girl Bad Blood. It's red, it's black, it's white. A very, very classic combination of colours, which is what I decided to use for my next link. And that is To Ring Shout by P. Djèlí Clark. So as you can see, it's white, it's black, it's red. It makes sense. This one I've not read yet, and I really want to get to it. It's really short and I don't really know that much about it. I know it's obviously about racism. I mean, look at the cover, and I think there's some sort of satirical stuff going on in here. I remember somebody talking about it quite a few years ago, and I thought it sounded really interesting, so then I put it on my wish list, and then I got it earlier this year. In fact, Paige, who I mentioned earlier, actually got this for me because I won a giveaway of hers, and I really want to get to it, so hopefully I'll get to it soon. Hopefully. So what have we got in this book? We've got the triangle, a hand, some mouths as eyes. I looked at a few different possibilities, but I decided to go with an open mouth. And you might think this is strenuous, but I actually really like this link because it's just so stupid, but it also makes sense. An open mouth, another open mouth, it's just a crow instead of a human mouth, so it counts. Yes, The Alex Crow by Andrew Smith. This is just a fun time. It's so weird. I've not read it for quite a few years, but it's just so freaking weird. As a lot of Andrew Smith's books are, it's even hard to explain. It's like multiple timeline, multiple characters you're following, weird ass stuff. Yeah, I can't even explain it, but it's great. And realistically, from this point, it would be so easy to just throw out like the next 7 books, just a different book with a crow in it, because they're very popular. But also I see why, because they're cool, aren't they? They look really good. But I didn't do that. I went a little bit out of the, I mean, they're still like the same birds, crows stuff. So my next one is Black Wings Beating by Alex London. Now I also want to point out, when I picked this up, I didn't even realise, but then I looked a bit closer. If I find you here, you see these little people here up on the crow, on the Alex Crow? Little people. So it's even better than just another book with a crow on it. So yes, this is another one that I haven't read yet. I did read Alex London's other series, which is Proxy. It's a duology. It was like a sci-fi dystopian-y stuff. I really enjoyed it, which is why I wanted to pick up another one of his books. And again, I don't really know much about this. I like not knowing books, not knowing stuff about books, and then just reading it and then not having any thoughts about it previously or any preconceived notions, any of that. I don't know anybody that's talked about this book, so yeah, hopefully I'll read it soon. I'm going to say that about all the ones I haven't read, apparently. But if we want to talk about strenuous links, so realistically what I wanted to do here was pull out Six of Crows because it's so obvious. It's so obvious, but because it's so obvious is the reason that I didn't want to do it. So I wanted to go completely left field because again, I thought if I pick out something with a bird's feather on it, it's just going to be the same books over and over again. It's going to be a birdie book and then another birdie book and then another birdie book because there's so many. So this one is kind of a random one, but I've gone with A Killer's Confession and A Mother's Fight for the Truth by Karen Edwards. Now you might look at that and think, what? But basically, first of all, the writing's all white, and second of all, behind the writing is like a big scrunch of stuff. A big scrunch of wings and weird stuff. A big scrunch of brambles. It makes sense-ish, kind of. It makes sense. So this one I have read. It is non-fiction, and it's about the mother of a girl that was murdered by this dude, and it was like really annoying the way it happened. So basically the guy did the murder, he killed somebody else, he got picked up for that murder, and then he confessed to this one. The parents didn't even know the girl was murdered because they had like a relationship that had gone quite thin because of reasons. I won't go into it, but like they didn't even realise she was missing or even presumed dead. He took the police to the body of somebody that nobody even knew was dead, and then the court said no, you can't take that into consideration because he didn't do it in a proper interview setting stuff. It was like really stupid the way they did it. And then he got in the trial for the other murder that he actually got caught for, and then like they couldn't use any of the evidence even though we took them to the literal body. It's really annoying. But then obviously it's like the fight and the parent, the mum and the dad and all the stuff and the police. Oh, and also forgot to mention the guy who the police guy, the inspector dude, he got punished. Not the murderer. He got punished. He found this family's daughter and then he got punished for it. Again, I won't go into it, but yes, that's where we're at, and we're also halfway through, so I'll tell you the link of this book after a message from one of the sponsors. You are so majestic. So again, we're going a bit of a strenuous tie, but I feel like it's more fun. Loads of books look the same. It'd be boring if I just did another book that looked exactly like this. So I took the element of flowers, and my next book is The Mercies by Kieran Millwood Hargrave. The flowers are very different. It's the pattern of the kimono type clothing. They're obviously like really stylized, whereas this is actual real flowers. But that's where we've gone with this. This is another one that I haven't read. I think it's quite a nice little mix in this whole stack of books that I have read, books that I haven't read. Maybe it'll make me pick them up. Who knows? There are so many books I want to read that I own. I just haven't yet. But this is set in the something or other, I can't remember exactly, 1600s. And it's about this island, and I think all the men die off and then the women are living their best life, and then other people come over and they're like, how are you living your best life without men? And then I think it's sapphic as well. So yeah, that's what that's all about. And with this one, you may have noticed all the flowers, but you may have also noticed down here there's some waves. Ooh, crashing waves, crashing waves. What could I possibly link to crashing waves? Boom, Erebus, The Story of a Ship by Michael Palin. Crashing waves, they're even in the same place as well, really, there and there. Well, that's not even crashing waves now I'm looking at it. This is waves. I was lying, that's ice. But yes, this is non-fiction about the Erebus ship. What happened to it? It was in an expedition to the Arctic placey. You know I'm all about that and I had to at least link one book in here. I say one book, guess what the next one is? But anyway, yes, I love this cover as well. It's just, the style of it's so cool. I love it. And yeah, I didn't love the book though. I didn't hate it. I think I gave it like 3.5. I enjoyed it, but it wasn't my favourite like expedition of the icy places. But what am I going to link to this? There's loads of ice and stuff and a ship. So of course I'm going to link it to Madhouse at the End of the Earth by Julian Sancton, because there's a ship and there's loads of ice, and it's also a polar expedition book, but it's also one of my favourite ones. This one I absolutely loved. It's about the Belgica expedition, and this is like the only book about it, because for some reason, I don't know, it's such an interesting story, so I don't know why there's not more books about it. But basically, like, the ship gets stuck there, they don't have enough of the food that they need, and then a bunch of people get scurvy, and there's madness, which is why that's the title, and you know, people losing their marbles a little bit. And yeah, it was really, really good. I love the way it was written. It like so immersive, right? Whereas this one, I feel like, I'm pretty sure this one was more like academically, when you're reading it, the first part anyway, when it got into the story properly, I really enjoyed it. But like the first maybe third of it was talking about building the ship, because it's about a story about the ship, all the boring stuff, very academic, telling you about weights and heights and stuff. Whereas this was like so personal and so about the characters, and using all the different like diaries and such forth. And also Amundsen was on the Belgica, so I don't even know why there's not more books about this expedition, because he's a big deal. But yeah, I'll stop talking about that because this is not what the video is about. So obviously I wasn't just gonna keep picking loads of books with ice and boats on them. I definitely have enough to do this with, but no, I wanted to go somewhere else. So I went with the scheme, the colours, I say the colour scheme, it's one colour, it's just blue. Boom, Wranglestone by Darren Charlton. This is another book I really enjoyed. It is about zombies. It's also male-male romance. It's also set in this, on a lake, and then all the houses are built on the lake, so the zombies can't get there. But then when it gets cold and the lake freezes, they can walk the little bodies over. So there's ice here as well. So then this is all ice. So it links with the colour but also the iciness. And yeah, I really enjoyed this. I still haven't read the sequel though. It's a duology. I own it. Again, why haven't I read it yet? I don't know, because I really want to. I really want to know what happens next. There are too many books, not enough time. But yes, we're moving on to our last book now. So the people that I tag are going to have to use that. So I didn't want to get something that was really shit, because that would be awkward. Especially considering how good Chelsea and Paige's were. You know what I mean? Their ending books were like so beautiful. So I was having a little look around, and you see these mountains up here, and you see this sort of just the shape of the house and the trees and the reflection-y sort of thing. Well, correct me if I'm wrong, but it gives me the same vibe. Fjord Blue by Nina Rossing. This is another book that I've read. So let me just put them side by side. You got the mountainy stuff at the top, and like I feel like this is the same shape as this. And then like in the middle you've got the line of the middle. It makes sense, right? Yeah, it makes sense. So yes, this is another book that I have read. It is a indie author. It's set in Norway. It's about this American teen that gets sent to Norway by his parents to stay with his grandparents on a farm, and then he's like hating the farm, but also it's Norway, it's gorgeous. And then there's also a boy that he likes that lives next to him. Excuse you. And it's just really cool because Norway, and there's part of it like where they're talking about the Northern Lights and going through the snowiness and that, and I love Norway. So yeah, that is my final book, and I'm gonna tag some people, so this is gonna have to be a starting point. Soz, but maybe not soz, depending on what you can think and what you can choose. But I will tag Katie at Introverted Reader, definitely. Hopefully you got something that works with this. Ashley at Ashley's Media Addiction, again. Hopefully this suits. And Kat at Brews and Reviews. I don't think I've seen you do this. If you have, soz. But why not give it a go? You've got loads of books. Do any of them look like this in any way? Maybe we'll find out. If you want to do it, do it. If you don't want to do it, don't do it. But yeah, write something down below if you want. Do any of these covers, what's your favourite cover? Have you ever read any of these books? Say some words. Or if you were going to link that last book, tell me which one. I can Google image it and see how you're linking. Yeah, let me know down below. Subscribe if you want to subscribe, and I will see you again in a few days with another video. Bye.